On Iran, are you able to tell us, like, the latest on the talks after there's been so much reporting about the U.S. proposal, which is effectively allowing Iran on a limited basis for low-level uranium enrichment for a TBD period of time? Is there going to be a new round of talks anytime soon?
Well, you did see the President Trump tweet, didn't you?
Yes, but I didn't think that would completely negate the reporting.
I appreciate that. I think that's the biggest guffaw I've had here. The thing that matters when it comes to American policy and what's happening is what President Trump thinks and says. This is the Trump administration. It is sometimes an unusual communication structure, as we've learned here in this very room. But the fact is, President Trump tweeted that there is going to be no uranium enrichment. Does the President of the United States, not just any president, but Donald Trump, does his opinion that he makes public trump news media reports? I think so. No, you know better than that.
No, as in the whole sticking point here is to try to come up with some sort of a formula that's going to be acceptable.
Well, that's a very different thing than what you just noted. So let me just make sure it's clear. The President has made clear and is the final word, obviously, and has been literally the final word in this regard, there will be no uranium enrichment. Now, if you're seeing reports about what the deal is, obviously that's incorrect. The President leads this. The President guides this. It is his guiding hand. It is the American people are happy with that. They elected him for his expertise and his focus. So President Trump's, not quite sure where you would think where President Trump's statement would not be the final dynamic here, and that, in fact, maybe reports could be wrong.
That's not what I said.
All right.
So are you saying that there was no proposal verbally or
I'm not going to comment
to the Iranians?
I'm not going to comment on how the negotiations,
enrichment.
Humaira, I'm not going to comment on the process of negotiations. We've been as clear as we can with the various negotiations, the discussions that have been going on over a period of weeks, and there's been readouts put on those and some elements of some details, but you can't discuss the nature of what a negotiation is because there's many elements involved and many different intentions involved, and the end result we won't know until it's over. So I'm not going to say if there was a submission or what the details were. What I do know that is public and blunt is the President of the United States statement about what it won't be, and that is the one thing we know at this point. All right, yes, sir.
On Iran, any idea about the next round of talks, when and where it will happen?
No.
And the other question, Senator Schumer yesterday accused the president on folding on Iran and said that the administration is getting ready to sign a secretive side deal with Iran. Any comments on this?
No. What I can say, though, of course, is that the maximum pressure campaign on Iran remains in full force. All right? Yes, ma'am.
Just following up on Humaira's question on Iran, would you say that optimism that was expressed by the president last week is still there? He seemed very positive about prospects. Do you still see them moving forward, or are they kind of a standstill?
There is no one's happy when people are killed. This has been the driving force of his decisions since January 20th and before, is to save people's lives and to be a peacemaker and to get these horrible things to end. So, of course, all of us are affected by that. At the same time, 7 million meals.
Sorry, Iran. Tammy.
Oh, Iran.
Yeah.
All right. Well, his optimism on that is true as well. I mean, you've got.
You still
I think. Well, his actions and his statements are based in the nature of the conversations that he has, that he knows are being had, and his understanding of why people are doing what they're doing and what we can do as a nation to mitigate that. And he has been very vocal on his optimism in that regard as well. I have not heard anything to counter that, but again, I'm not in those rooms, and I'm not going to read his mind. I do know that these people have been at the table because of the nature of the power of his influence and the power of the United States. he wouldn't be doing something that he didn't think he could accomplish. And I think that is informed in part by his optimism. I want to begin to reiterate the words of President Trump and Secretary Rubio in condemning the horrific terrorist attack in Colorado on the Jewish community, who were raising awareness for the hostages still being held by Hamas. Since the beginning of Secretary Rubio's tenure as Secretary of State, his focus on visas and the State Department's role determining who is allowed into this country has often been mocked, derided, or dismissed. This heinous attack is a reminder that the decisions about who we let into this country and who we allow to stay is of vital national security and personal security importance to this country and of Americans everywhere. As Secretary Rubio notes about this attack, quote, all terrorists, their family members, and terrorist sympathizers here on a visa should know that under the Trump administration, we will find you, revoke your visas, and deport you. Also today, the State Department is taking steps to impose visa restrictions on several Central American government officials who are responsible for deals with the corrupt Cuban regime to import medical personnel in their forced labor scheme. As Secretary Rubio notes, these steps promote accountability for those who support and perpetuate these exploitive practices. The Cuban labor export program abuses the participants, enriches the corrupt Cuban regime, and deprives everyday Cubans of essential medical care that they desperately need in their homeland. Our goal is to support the Cuban people in their pursuit of freedom and dignity, all while promoting accountability for those who contribute to a forced labor scheme. By pursuing these visa restrictions, the U.S. is sending a clear message about our commitment to promoting human rights and respect for labor rights worldwide. We encourage other nations to join us in this effort, end quote. Further, we are closely monitoring Mount Etna's eruption yesterday. We are not aware of any U.S. citizens affected at this time, and we are monitoring the situation closely. We strongly encourage U.S. citizens in the affected area to monitor local news and follow the emergency instructions provided by local authorities. We will provide information to U.S. citizens in the area through the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, messages, our consulate websites, social media, and at travel.state.gov as necessary. This is also an important reminder for all Americans traveling to enroll in the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program at step.state.gov. That's step.state.gov. And that is what I have for you right now.